Hello and welcome to the Digital Assets Report. I'm Jane King at the New York Stock Exchange. With me today, Vincent Molinari, the CEO of Liquid M Capital. So
hey,
welcome.
Jane.
Now you just got back from Puerto Rico. A
Yes.
big kind of program there involving blockchain, cryptocurrencies. Kind of give me the overall view and then let's ask some specific questions about what's happening there.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it was an amazing conference, Blockchain Unbound, which was sponsored by Lottery.com, and really became a very impressive convening of thought leaders around the world, galvanizing to talk about the issues, great panel discussions, great keynote presentations, and a couple of points that we can get into.
Well, interesting that it was in Puerto Rico, because from what I read is that a lot of people in the crypto world and the digital assets world, blockchain, have seen the hurricane there, Hurricane Maria, as an opportunity to go down there and kind of just build infrastructure from scratch to fit this new technology. Is that what you saw?
Yeah, so I think it was a great convening of how to solve some of the solutions specifically for Puerto Rico. There's a great benefit concert on Sunday that was held. And I think when you look at perhaps some of the tax benefit that's afforded to residents moving there, how do you bring this innovative technology? How do you use it for good? So I think thematically was a big draw for Puerto Rico.
So Puerto Rico could be a leader in blockchain technology.
You know, it's shaping up that way.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting the way it plays out.
Okay, so some of the big themes, you did see a movement toward blockchain for doing good.
Unquestionable. It almost verged on saying maybe there's a little bit of wealth shaming going on.
Oh, okay.
So I think many constituents there thematically looking at how do you democratize this wealth? How are people who created tremendous wealth with blockchain or cryptocurrencies or digital assets going to be giving back and utilizing this great technology of blockchain and digitized asset smart contracts for good? So I think that's really rising up, and how solutions around the world could be solved, particularly at the base of the pyramid for poverty alleviation, healthcare, education. Very strong theme throughout the conference.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, this could really change the world as we know it.
Absolutely.
Really fascinating. So you mentioned worldwide. Were there a lot of global investors there from all over?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say there was, not naming the countries specifically, but great concentration of international participants, as well as domestic. And then really, I'd say ran the gamut from traditional cryptologists and early movers to folks in the security practice. And I think that as part of the two themes, I'd say a lot of conversation around the regulatory framework and recognizing much of what's being done as a security instrument, particularly in the US.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. You definitely saw a movement toward these being classified as securities.
I think, I'd say the vast majority of the participants are moving in that direction. Certainly others that are still not quite there or looking at more non-US offerings. But I think a great recognition that this practice is evolving, particularly given the most recent guidance and the enforcement actions from the SEC that are driving this movement to be more of a regulated practice that has clear securities exemptions, AML, and the things that we're familiar with in the securities world.
And we're going to talk a lot more in depth about that in our next show.
Absolutely.
So, and Satoshi focusing on females. So that's, of course, super interesting to me. So tell me about what's going on there.
Yeah, and I think this is consistent with a lot of the things that Templin was very proud to participate in, Decade of Women, and the launch last week. Nyla Rogers from Mama Hope printed up these great t-shirts, Satoshi is female. And I think it's kind of on its face pointing to the fact that the vast majority of the participants in blockchain and crypto have been men, and some say it's north of 90%, and really engaging this great brain trust of women to be thought leaders and contribute to solutions. But also I think pointing to blockchain and the creation by Satoshi, that it's strong feminine, that it involves collaboration, it involves giving back and doing good. So hence this great new t-shirt, Satoshi is female.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to try to get my hands on one of those. Okay, so finally, some other big takeaways from Puerto Rico. For those of us who couldn't go, how would you kind of impart some knowledge that you got there?
I think it's a rapidly moving and evolving sector right now. And I think globally, there's a lot more work to be done. I think you're going to see a lot more collaboration going back to setting standards, and not saying an SRO specifically, but define taxonomies, best practices that can be originated or started here in the US. There's some initiatives going on in the UK that start to look like they're going to collaborate. But really thought leaders of saying, how is this global phenomenon going to be harnessed and continue to scale and do good? And looks like a lot of global collaboration from country to country. And then I think that's going to continue to percolate with the regulators starting to collaborate. It seems like
there's a lot of these meetings with blockchain and digital assets, where a lot of people just all kind of coming together, exchanging ideas. There's a lot going on in Washington. I mean, it's just a really dynamic industry right now that I think, I mean, you have to stay on top of this. I think this will be a big year for digital assets.
I think it already has been.
That's true.
And really, I think it's going to continue to be. And they talk about every day in the world of crypto and digital assets is like 30 days in normalized world. It's moving that fast.
Yeah.
So I think the key to this is shared wisdom and knowledge and the collaboration, both from a regulatory standpoint, traditional regulated entities and broker-dealers and ATSs collaborating with the great thought leaders in the development of blockchain and smart contracts.
Okay, thank you. And we look forward to hearing more about this as the year goes on. So thank you, Mr. Molinari, CEO of Liquid M Capital. And thank you as well for joining us on the Digital Assets Report. I'm Jane King at the New York Stock Exchange.